Have you seen me with my shirt off? You have? You think I have a great bod? Thanks, I know, but that is nice of you to say. Do the wrong thing and do things that feel painful, but you know are the right action. Play your life like The Sims. If you watch people play The Sims, suddenly their priorities are all in order, because when you're playing The Sims, you don't feel the Sim's pain, you don't feel its discomfort. So you can make the Sim take risk, you can make the Sim work for 12 hours a day, you can make them prioritize their life in the most streamlined way to keep those bars super green so they get a promotion every single day at work. It is causing, without a doubt, and zero hyperbole, the equivalent to entrepreneurship and just emotional life willingness, brain damage.
Do you think it's important to be happy in business?
Pursuing happiness will ruin your life.
Welcome to what is not a real interview, but nevertheless should be very interesting. Alex Becker is an extremely interesting, thought-provoking, analytical human being who's been very successful. Some of the stuff that he says is kind of outrageous and comedic and all of these things, but when you cut through the bullshit of what he says, there is a tremendous amount of value there. So I hope you enjoy this fake interview with Alex Becker.
Hi Alex, how are you doing?
Hey dudes and dudettes.
Tell us a bit more about you. Who is Alex Becker?
I am the most woke, empty house, billionaire, business advice guy, also with a great body, and the #1 seller of Mamba meat on Amazon right now. We're killing it right there. Mamba meat is on fire. You should get some. And in some circles, I'm known as also the most PG empty house, billionaire, business advice guy on YouTube with a great bod.
Okay, I'm just gonna have to introduce you myself. Becker is predicted to have a net worth of £9 million. He has accrued hundreds of thousands of followers on social media. He's CEO of a company called Hyros.
Okay, so you're known for being a very successful business leader, if a bit arrogant. I'm sure you get asked this a lot. How can people get rich quick?
But seriously, asking me this is like asking Tom Brady what it's like to throw a football the wrong way. Asking me this is like asking Amy Schumer what it's like to tell a funny joke. And the answer is, it's not even in the fucking realm of my reality, okay? I don't even comprehend it. I've been a billionaire since I was 6 years old. That being said, if I had known this when I was in my 20s, this would have made me tens of millions, maybe hundreds of more millions of dollars by the time I was 30. Give it 5 minutes or go watch a cat video. They are pretty cool. They don't have a good ROI. Man, if I avoided these mistakes, I think I'd be worth $100 million right now. Spoiler alert, I'm not actually a billionaire for like the 2 people in the comment section who are like, he's not a billionaire. Jokes. And while I was able to have my first $1 million year when I was about 23 years old, I made so many mistakes that stopped me from growing. Your 20s are dangerous. They're very dangerous because you have more energy and more creativity than you will ever have in your entire life, but you also have an excess of stupidity and confidence. In fact, you're not even aware of it. You're like a race car driver who's driving around the track drunk and doesn't even realize that they're drunk. You're gonna be having tons of fun, you're gonna have a ton of energy, but you're also drunk and you don't know it. Well, do I invest in things, rental properties? No. You want to have a wealth trajectory kind of like a professional athlete, not the ones that lose all their money. You get very competent at making money quickly and then you reinvest that money. It gets to the point that when you want to stop working or when you want to exit a business or something, you still have a good solid flow of income coming in from investments. That's what you want to do. See, in your 20s, this really weird thing happens where you have this inverse relationship where you think money is scarce, but time is not. It took me actually hitting my 30s to realize how opposite I viewed this. And so you're very short-sighted with money, and then in turn, you're very short-sighted with your activity. You're always gonna be focusing on the things that have the most immediate benefit. You can always get more money, but what you cannot get more of is time. And these are kind of mistakes I made, and I see other 20-year-olds making these mistakes. I always really waited to start a high investment long-term vision of a company because I was thinking, well, I need to make a little bit more money. I need to save up a little bit more money to do this. I need to get a little bit more experience in marketing. What you need to understand is you're really going to get the gist of about anything within 6 months of doing it. You need to start getting out of your comfort zone. Money is replenishable. Time is very limited. 1-year decisions versus 10-year decisions. The 10-year ones are always the best decisions, even if they don't pay off, because you only have so much time to make 10-year decisions.
I think I've heard you talk as well before about a few key skills that you need to have to be able to make money in business, to be very successful and make a lot of money in business quickly.
The first skill you need to have is understanding how to spot product market fit and research a market and spot a blue ocean market. Let me explain what that is. So look, the reason why most beginner entrepreneurs struggle is because every market they get into is a red ocean. What a red ocean market means that there's literally hundreds of other competitors in the market. That's terrible. It's a terrible market to be in. Frankly, everything you sell is compared to 100 other people. They're eating into your profit margin. Every ad is being bought to an extreme degree. And when a customer comes, there's a high chance they are going to go with somebody else, just out of the pure mass amount of people are in the market. If you have a product that's just as good as everyone else, which most beginners don't have, you're not really going to succeed. And you have to have marketing and business skills that are just on another level. However, I constantly see people take the business skills that would allow them to do okay in a red ocean market and get into a blue ocean market, which is a market where there's basically no competition. So what you want to do is you want to first look at it and say, where's a market where I won't have any competition and I can provide a unique service? I had a friend who started a business like this. The business exploded and it had caveman-like sales methods. You want to get in a blue ocean.
Okay, so I found a unique product. What's next?
The next skill you need to understand and have is the ability to close. I would just suggest the book Spend Selling.
Okay, so the book is called Spend Selling. Got it.
$7 will teach you more than any course you could ever buy. Go pick up that book. And if you understand how to close people on the phone and you understand how to use sales videos to get people on the phone, you can usually understand how to get people to buy high dollar things. Now you probably think, how can I get a person to buy something for $24,000? It's ridiculous. No, if you're selling something to a surgeon that they pay $24,000 for and it makes them $300,000, it's not hard to sell to them. It's not hard to sell them at all. I really suggest you get good at phone closing because you don't need a lot of people paying this much $1 million income. You can also do this in very long-term sales video format, but it's a lot more difficult. So I would suggest learning how to close on the phone.
Okay, so what's the next skill, Alex?
The next thing you need to understand is how to network with smart people who can make products. Why is this? The biggest problem with most businesses you see online, and one of the biggest kryptonites to guru businesses, is because the people doing the sales and marketing are also making the product. But if you're making the product and doing the sales and marketing, by definition, at least 50% of your effort is going away from the product. You're not focused on the product. There's no way you can be an amazing marketer and also build amazing products at the same time. It doesn't work like that. 100% of someone's time and multiple people's time should go into the product. For example, at Hyros, we have over 20 employees there and all of their time goes into making the product better, okay? And I can focus on the marketing. But here's the thing, you need to know how to network with smart people, not rich people, smart people. Now you're probably thinking, well, shouldn't you make the product? No, you glue-eating baboon. That's what a beginner thinks. No, you've been watching too much guru on the internet, good sir. Find really smart people, and what you do is you handle the marketing. I'm not coding Hyros. So you think of the product that these blue ocean opportunities need, and then you find someone to develop the product for you, and you partner with them. You give them a 20, 30% split of it. If you're starting out, I don't have to pull these type of large splits. You might have to though, but that's fine. So your main job as an entrepreneur is just looking out for opportunities. And as soon as you see an opportunity, you have every skill you need to build the type of company that you can build that can make you a lot of money.
How do you make great business decisions every time?
It has to have an intersection of 3 different things or it's not going to work out. It has to have an intersection of happiness, financial reward, and an excellent risk to reward ratio. And if it doesn't have these 3 things, it's a bad decision. The thing is, most people can't think about all these 3 things at once, and they can't think about it over a span of 10 years. This is the equation. These 3 things over the span of 10 years. If you put a question into this context, you'll always make the right decision. So let me explain what this context right here, because if it lacks any of these 4 things, it's a bad decision. I have a friend who I think has a really good chance of being a billionaire in the next 5 years, but he's making bad decisions. There's these 3 things that are causing him to make tons and tons of projects, which I think overall is the wrong decision because the projects have a low risk ratio. They're all going to succeed. He has fun working on them and they all do pay very well. But there's just one problem. If you put all these projects out over 10 years, they're not going to be the most profitable thing he could possibly do with the next 10 years of his life. And so it's a fail. Only work on the one thing that could make you $1 billion. Because there's no billionaires out there that made their first $1 billion from 15 different businesses. They usually all made it just from one.
Do you think it's important to be happy in business?
Pursuing happiness will ruin your life. More so, even worse, you're going after the check boxes of happiness as society tells you should go after. I think you're making a huge mistake. And when you die, you're gonna look back and you're gonna be filled with nothing but regret and you're gonna say, I wasted my life. If I'm gonna define happiness by one thing, it's being able to look back on my deathbed and say, man, I didn't waste my life. Kobe Bryant, when he was getting into the NBA when he was 8 and he was unhappy, he would see all these other kids out partying and drinking and enjoying their lives. Did I make a mistake? Am I doing something wrong here? If you look at Patrick Carlson when he was building Stripe, which has made him a billionaire many times over, When he talks about actually building Stripe and everything he was going through, he wasn't comfortable and he wasn't happy most of the time. Do you think Patrick Collison's going to look back in his life and say, I don't feel like I achieved anything. I feel like I wasted my life? No. And I'm not going to use the word happy anymore. I'm going to use fulfilled. And the reason why pursuing happiness is the worst thing you can ever do is because what happiness technically is, what most people pursue, is a stable, good feeling. Happiness is overall feeling comfortable, non-threatened, and a combination of chemicals being released in our head. For example, if I go and play World of Warcraft right now and get high, my brain is going to release a ton of chemicals because I'm in a non-threatening environment, I'm super comfortable, and I'm playing a game that is literally designed to release as much dopamine as possible. But what am I really doing right there? I'm wasting my life. I'm sitting around doing a repetitive task in a computer, leveling up a bunch of pixels, and gaining imaginary power in an imaginary world. Definition of wasting your life. As I look back and on my deathbed and say, that was the worst life ever. I completely wasted my life. Because frankly, all I'm doing is just abusing the chemicals in my head. Because your brain doesn't have context on what you're doing. Your brain doesn't have context on what you as a person need. It doesn't have context on what's going to give you a fulfilling life. All it does is it operates just like a computer system in ones and zeros. One is dopamine being released, zero is pain. When you use Facebook, you're getting a ton of dopamine release, like a slot machine. Therefore, your brain tells you you're happy, you're comfortable, you feel good, keep doing it, because it doesn't have context. Thinking and pursuing the check boxes of happiness. Oh, I'm gonna get married. Oh, I'm gonna have kids. Oh, I'm gonna do this thing that other people told me to do. Or I need to get this car. Or I need to get this house. Doing these things that you think are also going to bring you happy and thinking they're somehow going to elevate your mood is also insane. Because when you go and try and bring things into your life to elevate your mood, it's only gonna give you a short-term high. What most people are defining their happiness by is comfort, lack of stress, and obtaining short-term high after short-term high after short-term high. If I get this thing, I'm gonna be content. If I go and get drunk, I'm going to be content. If I have this many friends, I'm going to be content. My mood is going to consistently be high. And if I avoid discomfort, if I avoid stress, if I make sure that my mood, I always feel good all the time, I'm going to have a good life. Nothing's further than the truth. That's going to lead to you making weak decisions, avoiding challenges, and chasing objectives that might not have anything to do with you. What is way better to pursue and what's way better to go for is defining your life by satisfaction. And what satisfaction really comes down to is looking back at the end of the day and saying, I killed it. I did exactly what I wanted to do in life. What actions can I take that will give me purpose, give me long-term fulfillment, and that I can become obsessed with? Do the wrong thing and do things that feel painful, but you know are the right action. Play your life like The Sims. If you watch people play The Sims, suddenly their priorities are all in order. Because when you're playing The Sims, you don't feel The Sims pain. You don't feel its discomfort. So you can make The Sim take risk. You can make The Sim work for 12 hours a day. You can make them prioritize their life in the most streamlined way to keep those bars super green so they get a promotion every single day at work. Why is it so easy when people play a video game to have their priorities straight and crush it and live a fulfilling life in a video game? Because they're not basing anything around the happiness. They're not basing around the Sim's happiness. They're basing everything around the Sim's achievement and what the Sim wants to get out of life, or what you want the Sim to get out of life, or what you wish you could get out of life, but you can't because you're not the Sim. You can't play your life like that. If you can do that, you can have a kick-ass life just like in the Sims. You will not stop talking and asking me about the M word, masturbating.
I don't think I ever asked you about that.
I'm going to refer to as mounting the manicore because I don't like saying that word. It creeps me out. About nofap. What do you think about nofap? And usually my response is an extremely sarcastic, hey dude, whatever you want to do in terms of mounting the manticore, it's up to you. Frankly, I've always laughed at it. I've always thought it's very funny. I will tell you this. I practice hard mode right now. It means basically nothing, nada. When one pillar of your discipline collapses, every other pillar falls apart. I'm going to be the founder of nightmare mode, because this is actually what I discovered overall when it comes to resisting anything that triggers mass amounts of dopamine. Of course, mounting the manicore is one of those things, but it's one of many. So I would always notice, and one habit that I would always have in the past, especially in my 20s, is when I would break one oath, one thing that I didn't want to do, 5, 6, 7, 8 things would break, and it would take me very long to get back on the straight and narrow path where I'm just focused, locked in, perfect diet, perfect sleep routine, perfect everything. And if you read any books on willpower, it's because when you crack a little, you crack a lot. It's not like you crack a little and then you just crack a little and stop. You crack a lot. And then I would, in some cases, get so incredibly drunk. This has happened multiple times that I would charter a private jet to Vegas in the middle of the night, fly to Vegas, and like ungodly amounts of money later, be like, oh man, I really shouldn't have eaten that cheesecake at dinner. Look what it led to. And I've noticed, even as I became more disciplined, the more things that I allow in my life that trigger unnatural dopamine, the harder it becomes for me to resist those things. The unhappier I get, the weaker my willpower and discipline is. But I'm saying in periods of your life where you want to get a lot done, I think you should actually try abstaining from everything. 2 reasons. The first being the thing I just spent the last 5 minutes talking about. When you are disciplined in all things, it becomes easier to be disciplined in all things. Number 2, it's because you will actually be a lot happier. Look, a lot of people, and especially you're going to probably read in the comment section, like, what a horrible life this guy is living. This guy must be miserable. And it kind of blows my mind, because the more of these things I remove from my life, the happier I get, because I'm actually more present in my life and able to focus on the things I'm really passionate about and really care about to give me the most fulfillment, because I'm no longer being misled all over the place by dopamine. My willpower is no longer jaded shenanigans. I don't have this strong urge to be doing stupid stuff all the time. I'm happier. That stuff always makes me go, ugh, I wish I didn't do that, and I wish I was disciplined. You know, there's an inverse relationship between TV, video games, social media, and all the other things out there and happiness. There's no one out there whose life got significantly worse because they quit Facebook and Instagram. There's no one out there whose life got significantly worse because they stopped smoking.
But Alex, as well, like, so it wasn't only dopamine you gave up, right? And the things that cause you to release dopamine, but you gave up everything in your house. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
So you may have noticed that I sold all my stuff. I no longer own my home. I got rid of my car. And instead of listing everything out, I'll just list everything I do have. I have this desk, I have this computer, and I have a bed. Well, I want to explain why going through this process has made me a much better CEO. Why on earth would I get rid of all my stuff? Why would I sell my home and all those things? The very base of this, creating businesses for the sake of making money and doing everything for the sake of making money makes you a weak person. And it separates you completely from the things that are going to make you most happy and sends you and locks you in the paths that have nothing to do with you. And it sends you down paths where you have to fill that lack of fulfillment with things or money. You have to understand that your fulfillment in business is not going to come from the money you make after a certain point. Your fulfillment from business is going to come from mastering your craft and building things that you enjoy building. If you live a life where the goal is to make as much money as possible, to buy as many things as possible, you're going to be extremely disappointed, because I've gone down that path and it doesn't work out well. But let me explain how this works. And it's extremely easy to fall into as a new entrepreneur. I fell into it. The biggest mistakes in my life. If you want to build something great that makes a lot of money, you have to be really good at it. And it's really hard to become really good at something you don't find a ton of fulfillment in and enjoy to the craziest degree. All money that is made is usually based on long-term decisions. And it's very hard to make long-term decisions if the payoff for your work is only money. The payoff should be the joy of mastering your craft and mastering your trade and working on something you truly love working on with people you love working on it with. See, the human brain derives satisfaction from patterns and turning patterns into order. That's why when you listen to a new song with unique patterns in it, you feel an intense amount of joy. And then when you listen to it 100 times, it does nothing for you. That's the same thing that comes with making money and buying things. They're just new patterns that you eventually understand and do nothing for you. They will never do anything for you. They won't bring you any sense of joy whatsoever after the initial burst. You'll feel the same exact joy when you buy your first nice car as when you buy a car that's worth $400,000. And so what then happens is if you get locked into this path right here, well, it starts getting really nasty because you have to keep increasing the lifestyle. You have to keep going up in lifestyle and up in objects to feel anything. This is why you see so many people on Instagram with so much bullshit. It's because they're lost.
Do you always deprive yourself, Alex?
I talk a lot about deprivation. Very easy for people to get this idea of who I am, to think that I'm this person who has this insane discipline, never does anything bad ever. No, that's not who I am. And anybody putting forth on their self-help channels or business channels that they're the most disciplined, they never make any mistakes. They're just lying. I'm human and I have struggles just like you do. If you understand how to control your bad habits, you understand your vices, there are many times when these vices can actually speed you up and make you move fast, but you have to have absolute control. For example, if you drink, if you can control it and use that to network with people, for example, you meet someone and you guys go and get a drink together. If there's a business acquaintance that you'd like to network with and you guys go and get a drink together, that little bit of social lubricant, 1 or 2 drinks, isn't going to slow you down the next day, and it's going to allow you probably to loosen up a little bit, because entrepreneurs are usually terrible at socializing. If you look at entrepreneurs like Toby Lucky, plays StarCraft like crazy, and he said that's really helped him think about how to run his business better. Of course, Toby Lucky's not going home playing 80 hours of StarCraft a week. You have to understand how to control these things, and most people don't have control over them, and this is how you do it. I want you to be able to see this goat come in the room. And it walks in, it's like, "Mah!" You need to be like, "You are not escaping on me, goat," and then you hit it with a hammer. And then you have a dead goat in your house, which is never fun. Okay, that's also illegal in 6 states. Anyways, so what most people do is they won't kill this scapegoat. And I do the same exact thing. Whenever they see something that allows them to break off of discipline or focus or controlling their habits, they say, well, so-and-so did this thing. You need to be able to, one, identify where the point is that you start getting negative returns on something. And for a lot of things, the socially acceptable points that people will go to are way, way, way into the negative returns. For example, when people drink, they drink a lot. When people have caffeine, they have it every single day. When people do drugs, they don't have it occasionally. They have it consistently, all the time. You have to understand that everything has a rebound effect to it. When you push a little bit this way, you're going to rebound back this way. Always. And in order for you to get to any point of balance or control, you need to push way further than you need to, because everything has a rebound effect to it. And you're not going to be able to control anything until you're able to do that. For example, when I had too much excess financially in my life, what did I do? I went to the complete opposite end of the spectrum. I went extremely minimalistic. I own nothing. I have a house with just a bed, this desk. That's it. When I was using caffeine too much and addicted to it, I went to the extreme. I went 60 days without drinking any caffeine. Now I can have it every now and then, rarely as a boost, as a stimulant, a short-term boost that I don't rely on as a crutch. And so that allows me, by going to these extremes, to end up back over here in control and not have to think in complete absolutes. But in order for you to get control of anything, you're going to need to work in absolutes. That's why I'm a big proponent of nightmare mode. So you should buy Bitcoin as soon as possible. I'm not going to give you investment advice. You should buy Bitcoin.
Cheers.
I'm going to break down why you'll make it super duper clear to you. What Bitcoin is going to be used for and what Bitcoin is it's a store of wealth, like gold. The problem with gold is you can't carry it around everywhere. It needs to be a place for people to store their money that doesn't depreciate like crazy. That's how Bitcoin is going to be used. It's not going to be used as money you use to buy groceries with. It's not going to be what you pay your electric bill with. It's going to be a place where you store wealth. People are idiots. If you see what's going on in the world right now, and if you just look at how we print money and how governments around the world run their fiat money, it's stupid. It's idiocy. It's like watching a person drunk at a casino who's already hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, stealing everyone's credit cards and spending all their credit as well. It doesn't make any sense. Humans are extremely comfortable also kicking the can down the road, and that's what's happening in all financial systems. That's where they go poof, and they explode all the time. And while the United States might be able to withstand all the stupidity and the printing of money, many other countries that don't have such a stable base will not. And so one of the reasons why I think you should have at least, 1%, 2% of your net worth in Bitcoin is because what will happen if financial systems collapse is Bitcoin's value will explode. And therefore, what will happen is if all your money goes to being worth zero, which is very unlikely if your money is all made in US dollars. However, in the rare case that all your money evaporates, you're going to have something that will at least be worth a substantial amount of value, because where are people going to put their money when they can't put their money in banks? Are they going to put it in gold? No, they might put a little bit of it in gold. What is the #1 brand name that is a storage of wealth that is easy to obtain quickly and carry around with you? Bitcoin. I don't think it's going to be other cryptocurrencies. I think it would be Bitcoin.
This really ties into today's sponsor, UnlimitedCrypto.co, where you can create accounts with random cryptocurrency businesses like Coinbase or whoever else. But the really key thing is, the reason why UnlimitedCrypto.co is so good is it's basically a site designed to get you free cryptocurrency, free Bitcoin, stuff like that. So head over to unlimited.crypto, influencermarketing.co. Get yourself some free cryptocurrency, because why not? You can literally make yourself hundreds of dollars worth of free cryptocurrency. Just head over to the site, you'll see what I mean. It's crazy. Enjoy. I hope you enjoyed this sort of fake interview mashup. Please understand that everything's been taken out of context, so it doesn't necessarily represent Alex Becker's views. I hope you enjoyed it. It's a little bit different, and the intention was that it could be maybe more engaging, but at the same time still deliver useful insights to help you guys with your businesses. Our final sponsor is influentialme.com. It allows you to take part in influencer marketing. It really is the future of marketing, so 100% head over to influentialme.com and get your influencer marketing, and then go to unlimitedcrypto.co to get your free cryptocurrency. Have a great day, guys. Please subscribe if you get the chance, and give us a 5-star rating on Apple if you could be so kind. We hope you really enjoyed this and got some useful lessons out of it. See you soon.